Good morning, Red Devils. My name is Jason Sasser. I'm the Career Tech Director here at Central High School. I'm here to talk to you today about my assigned portions of your student orientation. I'm going to start on page 43 in your student handbook where it talks about medication. Basically, it's simple. If there's any form of medication that you are required to take at school, and there's a number of students that have, and I'm talking medication from prescription medication even to Tylenol, Tylenol, something for a headache, nausea, something like that. Any kind of medication has to be checked into the office by your parents. There's a form that they will fill out giving your name, what the medication is for, what the dosage is, and then our school nurse, Nurse Rutherford, keeps that locked up in her office. She is the only designated person on this campus that is legally allowed to administer medication to students. You can't carry it with you, all right? So if you think you may need some Tylenol from time to time this year, something as simple as that, have your parents fill out the proper paperwork, give it to the nurse in the main office, and she'll keep it up there with your name on it. No one else will have access to it, and then you can go there on a class change or the pass from a teacher, and you can take that medication. Some of you may have an inhaler that you are required to keep on you. She also needs that documentation, okay? Nurse Rutherford needs that on file, and then you'll be allowed to carry that with you throughout the day if that is necessary, okay? I'll talk to you about our exams. We have some midterm exams in most classes, and all classes give a final examination. Final exams are cumulative exams, meaning they cover the entire content of the course. You can exempt any exam that you qualify for. So I just want to be clear about the exam exemption policy. Again, it is detailed in your student handbook. All right. The exam exemption policy is you have to have an A in the class, number one. Okay, you got to have an A in that class. You have to have no discipline-related entries in I-Now that caused you to miss that class. I'll give you an example. If you got some disciplinary infraction that caused you to miss first period, so you got class exclusion for first period, but you did not miss any of your other classes, then you can still exempt those other classes as long as you have an A in the course. Okay? You can exempt first period's exam in that example because you have a discipline-related entry for that class. Okay, hopefully that's clear. But basically, if you have an A in the class, you have no discipline-related entries that caused you to miss that class period, you can exempt any and all exams that you qualify for. Okay, moving on. Food and drinks. You guys that are veterans to our campus, you know that from time to time, Mr. Vickers does allow as a reward for us to have a snack shack that opens up after lunch. Okay, that's going to be opening up in the near future. And you guys are, of course, welcome to purchase there if you so choose. All right. You are also allowed to bring water, or something like that from home, as long as it's something that can be closed when you're in the classroom. That's fine. Where we fall into some bad habits, I think, is at lunch. Okay. When you go to lunch, whether it's your own food or if it's food you have purchased here at Central High School, when you are dismissed from the cafeteria, you cannot take any food or drinks down the hallway. Okay, you shouldn't have any open drinks. You shouldn't be going back to class, walking through the hallway, sipping on the slushie that you bought, or eating on the bag of chips or something like that. Okay, no food or drink down the hallways. Okay, if your teachers allow you to have a bottle of water on your desk during class, that's one thing, but we can't be walking up and down the hallways, munching and drinking on food and drinks and stuff. Okay, so dispose of all those things in the cafeteria when you're dismissed before you head back to class. All right. Driving and parking privileges at Central. Okay, the student parking lot is the first parking lot that you come to on Dobbs Drive, okay? It's the one that's primarily in front of the Freshman Academy and to the side of our building here. That's the student parking lot, and that's the area that is designated for students to park in. You have to have a parking decal purchased at the school this school year in order to legally park out there at the high school. They're $5. If you haven't gotten yours already, Miss Tadlock in the main office, she can get you one of those. It's just $5. You hang it on your rearview mirror in your car. They are numbered. That number corresponds to you and your vehicle. We will do routine vehicle checks just to make sure everyone has their hang tag. If you don't, you'll receive a warning. If you continue without the proper hang tag, then you will lose the privilege to drive on campus. And that's, that's what it is. It is a privilege to be able to drive on campus, and that can be taken away if you are in violation of the parking rules or the hang tag rule. Okay, so student parking lot is to the side of this building in front of the Freshman Academy in the big parking lot. Okay, no parking in front of the Career Tech building or behind the Career Tech building. Okay, just over in the student parking lot, and have your $5 decal hanging in your mirror. Please know that your cars, just like your lockers at school, and those are subject to search from time to time if there is some reasonable suspicion that you may have something in the car or the locker that may not be allowed on campus. Okay, now that is not something very typical at Central, okay, but I just want you to be aware of that in case no one's made you aware of that previously. Okay. And when you arrive, last thing about driving and parking, when you arrive to school, when you park in the student parking lot, please don't loiter or linger in your vehicle. When you show up, park it, gather your things, come on in the building. When you get here in the morning, there's a few places that you're allowed to go. You can go to the media center until it fills up, and they'll put a closed sign on the door. You can go to the gym. You can go to the cafeteria. All right, those are the three areas that you're allowed to go in the morning once you arrive, but don't hang out in the parking lot, okay? Speaking of, when you get here in the mornings, we do have a tutoring program here at Central. Tutoring is free, and it's offered every single day of the school year. Okay, tutoring begins at 8:15. You can go to tutoring with any of your teachers. You can even go to a teacher that you don't have currently on your schedule. But it would be a good idea to give that teacher a heads up a day ahead of time that you're coming, because they're not going to expect you because you're not on their roster this year. But anyway, in order to come into the building for tutoring, you've got to have a pass from your teacher. Some teachers are sending those digitally. Some of them have a hard copy that they'll give you. But obviously, if it's for 8:15 in the morning, you're going to get that pass the day before, most likely. And then when you come in, we'll have teachers at their duty stations. You just show them that you've got a pass to go down to whoever's room for tutoring, and it's not a problem. Okay, without that pass, they're probably going to ask you to turn around and go to one of those three places I talked to you about: the media center, the cafeteria, or the gym. So just make arrangements prior to day of, and then tutoring will be no problem. Okay, and that applies to all teachers here on campus. All right. As far as at the end of the day, we obviously dismiss at 4 o'clock. If you ride a bus, you're going to report to the bus ramp. Your bus is going to be one of two places, in the access road between our building and the Freshman Academy, or your bus may be here at the bus ramp in front of Central High School, in front of the Career Tech building. I'll give you some more details about that in a minute. If you drive, then you gather your things and you head out to the student parking lot and get in your vehicle and have a nice evening. All right, if you are going to a club meeting, you have practice after school, you have tutoring after school, you have some event that causes you to stay on this campus after 4 o'clock, then by 4:05, if you have administrative detention, 4:05 you should report to Quad 1 in the cafeteria in order for that to be on time for that assigned detention. Or if you're at a club meeting or whatever, you need to be with that sponsor or with that coach by that time as well. Okay, if it comes 4:10, 4:15 and you're still just kind of wandering around the hallways without your coach, without your sponsor, then you're wrong. Okay, we've got personnel that come in when we get off at 4 to clean the building for us and things like that, and we need to have it clear for them to be able to do their responsibilities as well. Okay, so please exit the building, or at least go to your designated, appropriately designated areas in a timely manner at the end of each day. All right. Next, I'll be talking to you about bus procedures. There's a few things that I actually want you to be able to physically see. I've even got a graphic I'm going to show you to try to explain a little bit how the buses work at Central in the afternoon. Okay, so we're out here at the Central High School bus ramp. Like I was talking earlier, if you ride a bus and you attend Central at 4 o'clock, your bus is going to be in one of two places. The Freshman Academy line of buses is really simple because there's the access road that goes under the bridge between our building and the Freshman Academy. So there's just going to be one row of buses out there. Once we get into the rhythm of the school business day, those are going to be the same buses back there pretty much every day. Okay, meaning the rest of the buses are going to be out here at the bus ramp at Central High School pretty much every day, but they're not always going to be in the same order. It just depends on the elementary routes that they have to run before they come and pick us up. So your bus may be out here at Central every single day, but it might be in a different location every single day. So that's where we came up with this chalkboard system. Okay, these pink things up here, these are your run numbers. So if you ride run number 8, for example, you may come out here and look at the chalkboard and you may see that run number 8 is at 4-2. What that means is your bus is on the 4th row of buses from this curb, and it is the second one in that 4th row. Does that make sense? All right, you might ride Route 20 and it might say 1-1. That means that Route 20 today is in the very first row and it's the very first bus in that row. Okay, so that's what these numbers mean up here. Run 18 may be at 2-2. That means it's in the second row of buses from this curb and it's the second bus in that line. Okay? Right out here is where the buses will be. There are 5 different rows of buses on any given day. Row 1 is going to be right up against the curb at Central every single day. Row 2 will be one row over from that, obviously, and row 2 is always going to be the shortest line. There's usually only going to be about 2 buses in that line. Row 3 starts on the curb of this little island that you can see. If you look at the image, row 3 will start at that island. Row 3 is going to have 4 to 5 buses in it. Rows 4 and 5 will be in the road that kind of splits the teacher parking lot in front of the Career Tech building. Row 4, closest to the curb. Row 5, farthest away from the curb. So when you come out in the afternoon, if your bus is at Central High School, check the chalkboard, see what row your bus is in, followed by the position that it's in that line, and that should get you to your bus as quickly as possible. Now keep in mind, it may be out here at Central every single day, but it might be in a different location every day. So just be sure to check the chalkboard. All right, I hope all that makes sense. I hope you have a great year. Go Red Devils.